Freedom 35, 5, 5, 5.
Dude, start the podcast.
Wow.
You recording, Gordon?
You're recording, Gordon?
All right, guys. Well, welcome back to Freedom35ers. We're a CNFT podcast, and we're just discussing the crypto space and news and upcoming projects that's going on inside of Cardano. This week's episode, we're discussing recent CNFT news, including cNFTcon, the vulnerabilities of starting a podcast and putting yourself out there as a content creator. And then also Halloween is this week. But anyway, I'm TOMMY, also go by Tommy.
I'm TJ, also go by Lazy T.
And I'm the other Tom. I go by Lavish Bear on Twitter.
And we make up together Freedom35ers. Again, we're a CNFT podcast, all close friends that have started this, based out of a group chat that started 4 years ago when it came back to just crypto and getting into this investment, different space out there.
Used to be Zoclan.
Yeah, and it just was born out of I think, Tom, we can kind of let you kind of take where did Freedom 35, that actual name itself, come from?
Well, I mean, it originally comes from Trailer Park Boys, just because we were a big fan of that. And I mean, they have a bunch of schemes to retire essentially when they're 35. And I mean, we were pretty much trying to do the same thing, same goal when we got into crypto. It was just an easy way to actually get to some point where you can retire or have money when you're 35 like that.
Yeah,
it's our penny stocks, our modern day little penny stocks for us to get into.
Right,
exactly.
We are boarding our rocket ship, just trying to get up to our own moon right now. Yeah, man. So that group chat, as we've said in a couple previous episodes, for anybody new tuning in right now, that's kind of the backdrop for us. Is that Freedom 35 group chat was born out of crypto and us kind of interacting with Binance, XRP, Tron, Ethereum, things back in the day, back in 2017, and just us trying to make it and retire by the age of 35. And again, got resurrected here this year, back in like early April-ish, discussing some altcoins and meme coins that got going, and started resurrecting us, just our interest in crypto itself, and then led into the actual CNFT world when I got started back in early August. And started telling my guy, each of everybody else, hey guys, I got a picture of a tree. It's selling for like 1,200 ADA right now. You guys might want to jump in on this train right now.
A tree. What kind of tree are you selling for that much money?
Yeah, Tom, what about those trees got you interest on there, right? It was a nice picture of with like a broomstick or something that you had alluded to when you first saw
I
this.
just did not a lightning bolt. I didn't understand that they actually were like alive and moved and had seasons. I just thought it was that display picture they had on the marketplace. I did not get what the hype was about at all.
But just explaining the NFTs in general, like I was telling you guys, I had a friend hit me up the other day and we were talking about it, and I was trying to just explain, like I said the other day, what an NFT was and how to get it, explaining the wallet, getting the Cardano first, transferring over to the Cardano wallet, one of the three of them, and then going to buy on the mint day or buying in the marketplace. He's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. What you just said to me, that was very overwhelming. So, I had to explain it and dumb it down in a sense to relatable Pokemon cards, right?
Right.
That pack of Pokemon cards, you want to get the holographic, right? You don't want the Caterpie or the energies. You want the holographic Charizard coming out of that pack.
Holographic Blastoise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My thing, when I showed you guys, my thing was when I showed you guys those trees, it was like, no, trust me, like they sway in the wind, they grow, they have seasons, they have different animations, and I was like, it's cool, just trust me. And then plus people are paying ridiculous amounts of ADA for this stuff. It's a cool thing. But I think I have everybody like, wait, so you guys are just a picture of a tree? What does that do for me? Why is that worth so much money right now? What even is an NFT, right? I've had so many people now, the more that we started to talk about this as a podcast itself and started to get our, just our general friend group and even my parents and other people around just being like, okay, so I'm hearing about these things. Obviously, they're starting to be successful. People are starting to make money off them. What is the NFT? Why do people want this? Why is it valuable? And I think even me at first, like, it's a very a subject where you're almost like, unless you're in it, until you start to jump into it, you have no idea. You need to experience it to understand it.
That's literally what I told him. And that's like, even when the three of us first started doing it, you came on Discord and we're trying to explain to Tom and Tom and I are like, that sounds ridiculous, to be honest. That just sounds crazy. That
well,
you're
especially the
buying
first
the art.
picture, it was
Yeah.
the Charmander, right? It was the first one ever.
Charmander Gucci ball. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like, all right, man, like
That's
you
cool.
have fun with that.
Yeah.
How much money was that? Okay.
That was all right.
Like Tom, he's losing it over there. What is he doing, right?
Well,
And
like even on the Ethereum one though too, it was like the squiggly line, right? And then I sent in chat in our messages, and I drew a squiggly line back, and I was like, selling for X amount of money. Who wants to buy
$1.7 million? Yeah, I'm gonna buy this right now.
That is insane.
Yeah, so I think the NFT itself, with a non-fungible token, I don't think we've ever actually talked about like the actual what exactly is an NFT. It's a non-fungible token, basically meaning it's a one of one. You are the sole owner of whatever that asset is, whether it's digital artwork, whether it be an actual document, a ticket, a musical album, whatever it is. It's a one of one, and it could trace it back via the crypto blockchain. And our case, in Cardano, a cNFT is what Cardano NFT is short for. And that pretty much so you can trace back ownership that you own that. So the NFTs itself right now mainly are digital artwork, is what you're mainly seeing as NFTs, or profile pictures, some people call them. But there is other utility out there besides just that, whether it be art, like I said, music. Eventually, I think in the space itself, it's going to continue to grow to the mainstream of also, whether it be your driver's license, your social security card, your house deed, like things that are one of one documents that prove ownership that you own it. And I think that's where this NFT and this digital, you need a digital place to store these things.
Well, that's like when QR codes came out years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, what is this going to be used for? This is absolutely ridiculous. I'm never going to use a QR code. And now you even see it on, TV commercials. And of course, when you mint these NFTs, they use QR codes. I mean, they're just so many uses for them that people didn't realize that you could do with them.
Oh, they built it into the phones now. Or I mean, it's
you just take a
made
picture
so that you can take a picture and it'll process it for you. Like they took advantage of that and put it right in.
Think about
these NFTs are early.
Yeah, and think about even just using the like practical use case of, like you said, the QR code of it just being like during the pandemic, nobody wanted like physical paper menus for things, so a lot of people switched to a QR code for their digital menus just to pull up whatever they're looking at, and that's still implemented to this day. So you see that technology of like, why is this being utilized? Like, I don't really see the benefit of it until a few years later, when people all of a sudden like actually do take advantage, and it is way more convenient. I think we are in that super early stage when it does come to the non-fungible tokens itself. Is it hyper inflated in some ways? For sure. I do believe that, not everything that you may not hear is going to make you money and make it valuable just because it's minted on there. Like I saw a good analogy on Twitter the other day, is like, if you walk by and saw a picture of some of these profile pictures on like whether it be a canvas, a digital recording, or whether it be a t-shirt or something like that, you probably just wouldn't go and buy that for what you're paying for it here. But because it's minted on a blockchain, it's got a little more value to it right now.
Well, I mean, it's not even spending like $40. It's what you spend 40 ADA, so like $95, $100.
You'd probably walk by.
No, not even close.
No shot.
So I definitely think that things are a little. We're in a time period where everything and anything's trying to be sold as an NFT, and doesn't always necessarily make it valuable. It's just we're in that wild west stage of them being so early that everybody is in that point right now where they're trying to buy to make the next big either investment or just holding on to something that's unique. So it is unique time and period where we're at when it does come to these. And then just Cardano in general being so new, with smart contracts just releasing back on September 12th, where a true marketplace are still being even developed right now. It is very early over here.
Changes every week. Yeah, I mean, it's moving fast.
Mm-hmm. And just to kind of take it back for us is, so we've been talking about it now for a few months. The Freedom35ers was again born out of that group chat, and because all of our group chat was about these NFTs as it started to come around. And we decided to go ahead and, we're going to start a podcast. We've talked about it every day. We might as well go do it. Not enough people are talking about it, and especially in the way that we do. We wanted this to be kind of like an everyday conversation with just your average, with your friend, with anybody else, that this could be. This is like just a conversation.
Right. And we also work day jobs, we still try to get in the mints when we can. And, that's what it is.
Locked out of mints when we can because of work and just life, in general. Right. I got stuff going on.
Man.
So yeah, man. So it was born out of this Freedom 35ers thing. And again, we're still trying to go to the moon. I think we're in a way better opportunity right now with the world of NFTs because it is so new and there is a good opportunity there just in general. But that also segued us into actually starting a podcast. This is something that we've been kind of talking about, but and in other aspects back in the day, we're all pretty big gamers. I'd say the three of us. And we've always talked about starting a Twitch channel, starting a YouTube channel for these different things. And we've always kind of been like, I'm just, I'm not comfortable. I don't know if I want to do that, So this kind of starting up was definitely a big like undertaking for us. And it was kind of scary to actually put ourselves out there, let alone put ourselves on video.
Well, I think at first I was like, Tommy, you should literally make a YouTube channel because you do know a lot of information about Cardano, NFTs, the blockchain, all of that stuff. You're like, no. And then we were like, let's do a podcast. So it's three of us. So it's not just one person behind the camera, one person behind the mic. It's the three of us having a conversation that we have literally all the time, every day. We even have these conversations still today. We were talking about the drops and what'd you get? Well, did it go through? Did you see what happened? I mean, we still have these conversations day in and day out. So the fact that we're making it into a podcast, I think with the three of us, it helps the vulnerability because this, we're doing it together.
Right. You don't just feel awkward talking into a camera and be like, all right, guys, so this week on our episode,
it's going to 10x, it's going to 100x.
By the way, we're no kind of financial advice on this channel here itself.
Absolutely not.
We're just out here talking and having fun out there.
But just getting the time. I think you said it last week, TJ, where I'm just glad we've been able to find the time once a week and chat. Cause I would say we enjoy gaming, but getting the time even to do that these days is tough. So kind of converting our game time, that we did get once a week into doing something like this has been fun. Cause like you said, we already do these chats anyway. Usually it's in group text, but getting on Discord when the drops are going on and stuff like that has been great.
Yeah. And
it's helpful.
It's helpful, but also scary. But at the same time, it's like we've taken that leap. Now we're on technically our third episode. This is now episode 2 for us. But we're getting a little more comfortable and putting ourselves out there. So it is kind of refreshing to me, at least, to start to do this because it is now starting to become a little bit fun. Like I'm starting to get.
It's getting exciting.
Yeah, like I'm coming home and I'm like, what do I got this week? I want to go ahead and we're branding a little bit. Like people are starting to recognize us. Like I had some people coming in there like, hey, F35. And it's like, yo, that's sick. Like that's our thing. Like what the, people are actually interacting with us right now, which is actually, it's really cool to see and exciting,
Well, that's like the Twitter space you had, what was it, yesterday or the day before, where you were actually going to get to talk. What was it with the Claymates you were saying?
Yeah. Oh, God, man, that was fun, frustrating, and scary all at the same time. It's like almost like a little bit of nerves. Yeah. So Twitter spaces are like the big thing right now, especially that are starting to develop, and it connects people so much more intimately with their communities and just with people in general. Like the big one is JoelMadden, right, from GoodCharlotte. He's obviously partnered with Claymates, and they're doing a Halloween theme drop this week over here on Sunday for Halloween. But on top of that, finding out that he's just a big NFT fan, and on top of that, he's really lobbying for the CNFTs just in general. And you see him showing up in every single one of these different Discords, and he's now doing a Real Talk, which was the one I jumped into last night on Tuesday nights. I think they started at 8 p.m. Eastern, and he was in there and
a little bit.
Yeah, and I jumped in for us as F35 just to ask a question. I think was for Fettuccini with the AngelBabyHitSquad, which we did mention in last week's episode briefly, is a NFT project that's being minted in Ethereum with the goal of paying rewards and passive stuff over into ADA, or forcing you to basically create a Cardano wallet and being able to pay out stuff over on that side. And it's supposed to be bridging the communities. But I got a chance to basically ask him, hey guys, for a lot of us on CNFT, it's the Wild West out here. We're over here copy and pasting an address and sending it over. How does the actual mint process work on a platform that has a true marketplace that has smart contracts? Like, how does that even work over there? And he gave us a good answer of, basically you're connecting your MetaMask wallet right to OpenSea. As soon as the launch time goes, you're in there, click buy, sign your contract, and boom, the NFT gets minted. So it's a lot different and a lot more organized, and it's really cool to be able to have that exposure and that access to these guys just from clicking a button request right off your phone.
That's actually probably has less crashing and stuff too, I'd assume, with with how the drops go on
the site like that.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest thing that he mentioned, Fettuccine, in that thing was, the gas fees over on Ethereum. I think that's why Cardano the CNFTs are starting to blow up the way they are. And then also just potential for, just big growth in the future is because there is very low transaction fees when it comes to the Cardano network compared to Ethereum right now. So when you have a high traffic volume on Ethereum, the gas fees, you could be paying
it's ridiculous. It's out of control.
$200 or 0.1 ETH for a mint, and then pay 0.1 ETH for the actual gas fee itself. So you're doubling your price just based off that transaction, and that sucks. Like that's
not your average day worker kind of money. You know what I'm saying?
No, right. If you're over here, even launching an NFT project, right? Like you're like, dude, can you imagine the fees to even mint one of those when the network's congested? So he was basically saying that they're going to be going, like, they talked to a lot of people, they've done research, they talked to lawyers there. So their goal is to kind of do like a stealth launch on that day where you're going to have to be next to your phone, next to your computer, something when that notification hits. So that way, not, a huge amount of people are all just waiting on that time to crash that network or crash the fees for that. Mm-hmm. And they're going to, hopefully avoid having to pay high gas fees over on Ethereum, which isn't a problem over here currently.
Well, the gas fees are very nice.
Yeah.
In comparison to that one.
But I think that's, just segueing into that because, we've had a bunch of stuff that we want to get into today, but I think just the congestion, right? That leads us into a segue for right now of how busy it is when you have a few of these major drops dropping in one day, even currently, just with the scalability of Cardano's blockchain. Like you saw it today with the ZombieChains, with the Camel Club, and now VuduBrigada. All three of those just overloaded the network today.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize the Camel did. And I mean, they didn't even manage to actually sell out. It was still just such a rush at their drop. It still crashed the wallets.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still just even enough people to do that. It's not necessarily enough to sell. It was 8,800, something like that.
That was the total they had to mint, but I think they only minted like 30-40% so far. Yeah, they're still minting, but
everybody's still minting. I was in, the VuduBrigada, which unfortunately, did have a little hiccup today. They did. I was in the actual whitelist for that, and a mod in there posted the incorrect address. He actually copied an address from a guy in the whitelist, so that guy all of a sudden had 36,000 ADA in his wallet. And everybody, they realized that, shit, we messed up, and the actual creator posted the correct address. By that time, the damage had already been done. People's data had already been sent. And some guy, luckily the guy was really nice. It was a guy named Sir Hoskinson. And he was like, hey guys, you're sending ADA to my wallet right now. Stop sending. And he was actually really cool about it. And everybody else was super, super salty. What do you do in that situation?
It's gotta be intense. Well, at first I was so jealous of you because you got in that whitelist. I'm just because all day, especially for us, where we're at, it was a 4 p.m. drop. So I mean, working all day is just like, all right, is it 4 p.m. yet? Waiting to see what happens. And then I didn't realize that Camel was at 3. I missed that. I knew they had the pre-sale today, TJ, because you were doing that. Mm-hmm. I didn't actually realize that their drop was like right after. I knew Wraith was later, and theirs at 6.
Yeah, the Wraith's at 6. Yeah,
the 4 p.m. I'm waiting all day, and then you said you texted us like, "Oh, I get mine at 2:30 in the pre-sale," and I was like, "All right, man, cool, thanks."
Yeah,
work's already slow enough. It's like been here for 5 hours. It's 9:30 a.m. I don't know what's going on, and now I'm waiting. And I didn't realize too. I figured the pre-sale was 1 transaction per, like, because to kind of limit it.
It was one transaction per. Yeah,
it was 1 NFT per transaction.
Correct.
It wasn't 1 transaction per person or per wallet. Like you send.
Unlimited. Yeah, until 1,000. It had 1,000 capped. It had
the cap. Yeah. I just thought it was like, hey, everyone's gonna get 1, and we have so many, and if they don't all sell out, then it just gets put back in the regular pool. I didn't realize like you could just go out of control and get like 10 right on the pre-sale if you got lucky. Which made it even worse then, because I was saying I was jealous that you got in there, and then that mishap happened, and I would have been all over the wrong wallet too. Like within seconds, already sending, and you were able to send in 3.
I got 3 off, and then I think I sent 1 to the correct one, and I'd already expected to lose that ADA because I was buying something at that time. So I messaged one of the devs on there. I forget his name. But I was like, yo, man, I hope this was an honest mistake. I feel for you right now if that was, because I can imagine what you guys are going through right now. I just hope that you guys are clear on your communication and that you guys get the refunds back to these pre-sale guys, or make sure that they get their tokens. And he goes, dude, I'm shaking right now. He messaged me back. And I was like, I understand, man. Keep your head up. Like, just make sure everybody gets their stuff and take care of them communication wise. And he's like, so I think he just made an honest mistake, and that happens. We're still so early because there is no smart contracts. Like, this is the reality that we're in the CNFT world, and the people coming over from other chains are seeing it and they're like, oh man, things are so crazy over here on this blockchain. And it's like, look, we've exceeded the bandwidth of this actual blockchain itself. Like, their scalability cannot meet our demand right now because of these NFTs. Like, that operation, their Hydra right now is supposed to fix all that, but right now we're not there. So you're going to see this congestion. You're going to expect this delay, and there's a lot of things that come with how, and it just says how early we are right now.
But even not just for like the people buying the NFTs, like the artists themselves, everyone is just new to doing this in general. There's going to be errors, mistakes, congestions, like you're talking about. It's going to happen. It's just so new and early that stuff like this is going to, I mean, unfortunately it's going to happen, but every time it happens, they're going to learn from it and fix it and, make it a little better each time. So that,
and you can see it. There's not a standard way to do it. All right, we had a bit of a technical difficulty there. We lost Tommy for a second, but we got it going again. I think we were just talking about, the smart contracts and, how the congestion has been affecting the drops and the congestion we've seen, and even just on the drops where there's not like a universal set way. Every project we've seen has a different way of doing their drops. We've seen them do the website drops. Sometimes we've seen to be really successful.
My favorite ones.
Yeah, especially if if you're only using Yoroi, that may be the only chance you have if you get a reservation link on the websites. But then we've also seen where sometimes the website crashes on the drop and you can't even get the link because it's just completely crashed. So there's not like a set way that any of these projects have where they release their NFTs on. And I mean, as they get more stable and we see like you were just explaining though, like how the bid process works and the drop process works with the smart contracts. When you start seeing that, it'll be so much smoother where you can just, know what you're sending to and know what you're getting back. And
well, like on the website though, when I'm there, it says don't refresh, address will be posted. I want to hit refresh so bad because
I had a stupid story about that. I thought I could hack it for the ADA buddies for ADA dolls. I was they had the reservation system on their website. Basically, they were like, wait until the countdown of whatever time it was, and then on the dot, it's going to automatically refresh and a buy button is going to appear. And the other sneak side of me was like, I'm going to have another web page up next to it in a separate tab, and I'm going to hit reload. And then I'm going to reserve a queue here, and I'm going to reserve a queue here. So I reserved like 4 queues in all these windows because I'm like, I'm going to get like 1 or 2, 3 or 4 of these things. And on one of them, I was like really early on the line. And then when it did like the automatic refresh on all 4 screens, they all updated, but it put me to the farthest one out of the 4 screens. And I was like, damn, they got me here.
Like, they got you.
See, because I'm torn too, TJ. Like I never want to be sitting there waiting for it to refresh. And then I'm going to hear from Tommy like, oh man, I just hit refresh like 5 seconds before and just started spamming it. And I got in right away, like a minute before. And I'm like, oh, so I was sitting here like an idiot, just waiting for it to do it. And nothing happened, or the site crashed. I was sitting here and the site crashed. But then we've also seen some of the drops do it where if you refresh, it gives you like a math equation or something you have to solve then before you can get before you get the address. I was
like some fucking pre-algebra and then like calculus.
I think Dummies had something like that. I think Dummies had that.
They had a math, had a math problem.
Yeah, they had a simple math problem. Like it was super simple.
But if you were spamming the
refresh, they gave you like a really hard math problem to do. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. See, they're getting clever because they know like people, the demand is crazy on some of these big mint drops. And I guess my favorite one, which it's part of like the excitement and the rush of like the NFT drop of let's take take the entity that we now have established as Aeonium Sky, based off our last episode. Their mint drop was on Sunday this week, and it was a race. It was drop the address in.
So cool.
Is her. We don't know what Aeonium Sky is. We just know that they make artwork and it's good. But yeah, we have no idea. Like it's just 22 ADA. Drop the address in the chat, and 450 mints if you get in quick, great. But most of the stuff now, even I was in the pre-sale for Voodoo's, like we were just discussing. There was even some other drops that went out today, but it was basically like, if you send off your thing, whether you're in Daedalus, whether you're in Nami, whether you're in Uruguay, and it's everybody sends right at that like spot, right? Everybody's right on point, but it depends which wallet you're using or which stuff. And it's just depending, like the confirmation of your transaction, because whatever block it's in, you can kind of start to manually do. We've been in this long enough now where if you can see the transaction history, you can check the block and you can check the number of confirmed transactions in that block and start to do the math manually in your head. Like if there's 1,000 drops on that, there's like 100 transactions on this block, 200 on this one. And it's like, okay, what block, where is the cutoff, and did I make it?
Yeah.
You know, and you're starting to see those kind of things happen. And it's like, you know, everybody wants to be on an even playing field, but unfortunately we're not there yet. And it is like, if you have the data list, it seems like, and you're quick on it, that, and you have a good internet connection, that seems to be like the go-to move right now, versus like the mobile where you're fighting a losing battle, it seems like.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I've been successful. So, I mean, you know, today with the Voodoo drop, it was a little bit slower till it actually sold out. So I was successful with Nami on that. But like on Aeonium Sky on Sunday, I didn't stand a chance. I mean, that was, you said it was 450 on this one. That was his most, right? Are there most on a drop so far?
The last two have been 450.
The last two have been, okay, but I mean, they were sold out instantly. I didn't even get, you know, close to the Nami sell. So I mean, if you're not on Daedalus, you're just not grabbing those, especially the small ones like that.
No, I mean, yeah, it's getting to the point now where they need to get some sort of smart contract like marketplace in place. It seems that Nami is the front runner for a lot of that stuff. And something I want to talk about too is like connecting your wallet now to these websites to start the smart contracts. I actually saw yesterday that, or maybe even today it was, that Deadpxlz has got their Nami wallet integrated and working on a smart contract marketplace for the Deadpxlz itself, where you list it on there with your Nami wallet, sign your transaction, it's listed. If you want to buy it, same kind of thing. You just click on the one you want to buy, connect your Nami wallet, hit buy, and boom, it automatically does it back and forth for you. And then you're starting to see these other, I mean, like we talked about last week, the Cardano apes was another one where they had a marketplace. SpaceBuds has a marketplace. Cardano Trees is talking about doing a marketplace, but it's like, you want one that all comes together, that everybody can kind of get in on the same page, so it's not so spread thin. But so far, as far as connecting wallets right now, it seems that Nami is the one that you need in order to generate some of this stuff. Because even this week, which I know it did have an issue again with scalability and stuff, was the Dirtbirds that we had talked about, and their incubator feature where you had to connect your Nami wallet to their website in order to get your connection and incubate your Dirtbird itself, get the actual egg, and then what do you call it? Wait 14 days or whatever it is for it to hatch and turn into a Dirtling. So that itself, everybody pretty much in the Cardano NFT space needs to make sure that they have some sort of Nami wallet right now. That's basically like the MetaMask of Cardano right now.
Even just to connect for those things, you know, not necessarily to always buy for, especially since like you said, if you're using your phone or you're at work most of the time, you're doing your drops, you may not be able to use Nami on your phone.
You can't use Nami on your phone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I haven't looked more into it, but maybe there's a sneak way or something. But as far as I know, you can. Exactly.
Yeah.
But just to have it, then just to link to those things, you know, just to have to link if you're doing something like that, and be prepared for linking in the future.
Right. And I don't know. We're in a place right now where everything's growing. There's a bigger marketplace. There's more demand, and you're starting to see people get more and more frustrated too on these drop days, where it's like, if I don't get in, automatically screw this project, it's a rug pull, or it's like, I'm done with it. Like, I hate it. I'm out. Like, I never been supporting you. And it's like, look, we're just not there yet. And we're doing our best as artists, as people out here, to try to provide the best experience for you guys. Unfortunately, that like there's going to be these issues right now.
Right.
Well, like with the Voodoo one too, they had the issue during pre-sale with the wrong wallet ID in there, and it started sending to the wrong person. And then when the mint started going a little slow because of the congestion, everyone, you get a little more panicky because there was already a problem. And so people are already kind of sensitive to see
Skeptical.
they're really sensitive to how it's going to go when the actual drop happens, and see if there's more problems or any more red flags that come up. And then the mint starts going slow, and it paused for a couple hours after only like 700 had been minted, and everyone's like, this is a rug pull, we're getting out of this project, this is terrible. And then, you know, now it's fine, it's all cleared up, and I've gotten my one Voodoo. I'm still waiting on my second one, but it's all cleared up now. We're all good to go.
Still waiting for 4 of them on pre-sale, baby, but it's okay because I've done Zombits and it took 24 hours, you know, months ago to get my project. So I'm not worried about it, but I can definitely see, as people who may be coming from other chains or just for the first time minting into this stuff, it can be scary. It can be frustrating. So it's like, we got to educate those out there to say, hey, you know, there may be hiccups in this, you know, these are the steps to experience, you know, what to do in the case that it doesn't go as smooth as planned.
I remember Maston buttons, the lore one, when we got those, I didn't get mine till the next morning. And I was like, am I going to get this or a refund? Like what's going on? Like, I want to know, just send me something. I don't care at this point. Just send me anything.
An update. That goes back to the fact that these developers, these community members, if they do have a good mod system, or just even people communicating for them, what a 2-minute or 1-minute post will do for people in order to mitigate the whole panic and you know, FUD and all that stuff that's developing from that stuff. You really do need to be engaged with your community, whether, you know, if something went right or wrong, just be upfront with what's going on.
I don't know if you guys were able to sit in the Discord for Voodoo, but they were doing a good job of that, you know, keeping like everyone like, hey guys, we're still working on this, the developer's working hard, but you know, it's going slow. It's not, you know, it's not something that we can, it's not something on our end, otherwise it'd be going all right, we've already fixed it. So it was just congestion, and they were working on getting everyone their mint as quick as possible. But like you said, and then they were at one point, they blocked the chat and just kind of like posted some like dancing memes and stuff, just like clear it out, let it like air out a little bit, let everyone calm down. And then they started letting everyone come back in again, and then the mint started picking right up after that.
I mean, it's going to be a thing for you know, until we do get that marketplace, but it goes, Voodoo had a lot of hype to it too. That was a big project. So I can imagine, you know, when something goes wrong, the escalation level of like panic goes up way higher too, right? Based on the project that it is. So I get that. And most people these days have been burned, at least in some capacity. If you've been in here for the past maybe month or two, you might've gotten burned by a project like that. So I can imagine, you know, everybody's looking at it like with very skeptical and under a fine like magnifying glass when it does come to these drops. As soon as something goes wrong, everybody's so quick to point like the negative out. And sometimes you just need to be like, sit back, like take a breather, maybe not just rush to click copy paste, and like just analyze and make a decision before you jump into something.
Well, I think I was saying it to you, TJ, before this, where I even got a little bit impatient. I mean, you know, you're always nervous. You're sending money out. And I even got a little bit impatient and forgot that the past drops we've been in have taken some time. You know, some of them take much longer than others. I remember, Tommy, one of the ones you got in before us, you said it took a full day to get your NFT till it finally got minted, just because of how things move along. So then I started thinking of that, and I was like, I'm good to go. We'll wait, like no problem at all. But it's easy to panic, and then people start getting that mob mentality. And then, like you said, this was a popular project, so just like a bigger mob, it just gets even more panicked, and then everyone just starts getting riled up. So the mods do a good job controlling that, kind of keeping the project going then too, because it can easily tank if people start freaking out.
Speaking of that, of the mods, and then like, you know, obviously Voodoo is a pretty big project. They've been hyped for a while, and they've got a pretty big team to them. But it also can be a testament to the artists who are just starting up in Cardano and launching their own stuff. Like, let's look at Wraith tonight, right? WraithCNFT, they are I actually was in the pre-sale for them yesterday and did the drop. Minting process went smooth. It was a locked channel. Everybody had a great time, started posting their race out there. They're basically little ghost, like animated bit, like they reminded me of like the video game days. It's like Zelda. Really they're very simple, very cool looking. A big shout out to
it's really cool.
You gotta show me that. I didn't know that. Cool.
Big shout out to Hapix and just that whole team in general. But it's just that guy. He's out in Norway and doing his thing. And tonight, unfortunately, you saw what happens with these people. You know, he dropped his address for the public sale today in the general chat, and somebody impersonated, took his ID, you know, basically made a separate alias from him, posted a address that wasn't the true one. And people unfortunately got scammed and fell into it and sent ADA to that address before he got a second to be like, oh shoot, you know, like let me fix that
Yeah.
and delete that guy's stuff. And even one of our buddies actually got scammed by it
I
as well,
saw
right?
that live when it was happening. I almost copied it myself, but then I saw the conversation flow and I'm like, wait a minute, that's actually not the address. So I waited a second to see what he was going to do and where he was going to put the address. Cause I almost copied it myself.
Right. Well,
it was a 5 ADA drop, right?
20.
Oh, it was a 20. Okay. So he tried to get one, but yeah, they got him on that. And then, but I mean, he's already taken care of that too. They stepped up right away and said like, hey, that's on us. We shouldn't have posted this and done it in a general chat. It should have been like a lock channel or just done differently. Yeah. And he's already making that right. I think he's already got his refund for the 28 spent.
He sent it from his personal wallet too, you said, right, Tommy?
He literally, he sent from his own personal wallet the refunds to these guys. Awesome. He's working on recouping that stuff. So he's like he's a good guy, like trying to make it right. And unfortunately, something got scammed out of that. But it goes back to the fact that everybody who is in these mints take a breath before you jump into this stuff and just start blindly copy pasting stuff over and sending, because again, stuff people aren't perfect, as we're learning, and stuff might happen. So a big shout out though to WraithCNFT for what he's doing for everybody in that community, and he's making things right. And he can tell he's a good guy. So just shout out to him. Unfortunately, it sucks that happened, but shout out to him for being involved with his community and getting that done.
Absolutely.
I don't know about you guys, because I'm kind of extra paranoid when it comes to that. Because I mean, first of all, drop time comes, my feet are sweating, like the adrenaline's pumping, and then you start posting addresses, you're copy and pasting, you're putting in like 68 or like some of these drops, 225 ADA we had this week. And then you actually hit send, get confirmation on the send, and then start looking again. I just like keep opening it and over again, looking at the address they pasted in Discord, back to the one that I actually sent to.
I read the first four, read the last four.
Yeah, read the last four.
It's always the last four for me. Yeah.
But first four and last four, just like that. Just like make sure like the beginning's right, the end's right. Do it again. And then I'm just sitting there waiting, making sure I went through.
Like, did I send 44?
Well, what's funny, speaking of Wraith, when he first posted the real one, it had the word address with the address on it. So when I copied and pasted, I'm like, what is going on? It's saying not a real thing. And as I'm reading it, the first four, I'm like, oh, it says address. So I knew to backspace it.
On your phone?
No, actually it was on my phone. And then I went to this Discord and I saw that he fixed it. He spaced it out so then you could see it. But at first it said address with the code address.
I've seen them do that for drops. They'll say that like, we're just going to post the address with nothing else. So for mobile users, because they know that if they put any, like sometimes they'll do the entire thing, like how much you're supposed to
you have to copy the entire text with it, and everybody's like, oh shoot, yeah, you got it. Everybody was like, give me the separate. Yeah 100%.
So they'll do like okay, 40 ADA or 44 ADA drop time, all that, and then they'll do the address separate. But I've seen them say that because I mean sometimes it just happens. They're not aware. They're just putting address so everyone knows, and then phone people are just like you said, they get the error. I didn't know it was an error, but yeah, I mean I've seen that happen.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's crazy to see, and it shows again how early we are in the space itself. But definitely everybody who is jumping in, maybe from another chain or something, make sure you take your time to do your own research, like pause before you send this stuff. And if you're do everything that you need to do, you most likely will probably get something. Now on big drops, you will need to get a little more experience and use the data list and other things until they do get that marketplace. But this transition, I kind of into a different topic. How about this weekend? We were talking about it last week. Is cNFTcon happened, the first official like Cardano NFT event, and presented and powered by BuffyBot, or NFT update on YouTube. They had a very, very successful weekend, I thought, and very cool just to kind of bring the the vulnerability and just the visibility to the actual artist itself inside of Cardano's NFTs. You guys check any of that out?
I got to see the Clayman's video. I mean, of course I watched that one, and I don't know. Like you said, it was cool to see the actual artists and hear how they got into it, and what's coming up in the future, and just everything in general about it. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah,
and it went really well. I mean, I didn't get to watch every part of it, but like watching the Yummy thing on Friday and the Claymates part, it all ran well and it all looked great. Like they didn't have any problems, so that all went really smooth, which is nice. Just not having technical difficulties the whole time and crashing and no audio or whatever. And then I mean, it's almost sometimes like with sports and stuff like that, we realize you never heard like an athlete talk, or even like in football when you see like them without their helmet, and you're like, I'd never really saw his face before. That's what he looks like. Okay. It's kind of like that with the artist. So I don't think I've ever heard like an artist talk like that, especially about big projects like they are on this, because it's not just talking about maybe their inspiration for their paintings. Like these are like full projects that they do.
Oh yeah.
So there's so
I
much
mean,
more
a lot
to
of
it.
them too have turned this like literally into like their career now. They're
Yeah,
making
100%.
something- yeah. So it's just exciting to see where they want to go with it and what they're doing now currently, and just how they got there, honestly.
Well, and they had
Yeah.
their drops too the whole time in between. So getting to see all the art that came out, like, you know, constant art the entire weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're actually getting that, Tommy, for your airdrops. I never asked how those went.
So the airdrops itself, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen over here just so, you know, everybody's watching on YouTube can go ahead and see just a little bit about the actual airdrop itself. So this is the LegacyPass that 2,500 of them were made for 150 ADA, and they pretty much sold passively. I bought like one of the on the first day, and they sold kind of you know, just I think there was about like 800 of them left, and then one day they dropped the, you know, the airdrop utility of, hey, YummiUniverse is going to be one of the first ones that are going to have an airdrop for these pass holders, and then boom, like we were talking about, they sold out instantly after all that stuff. So the cNFTcon LegacyPass granted you, I think they said 12 guaranteed airdrops, and the actual CNFT pass itself was designed, you can see here on the board, if you may recognize the art, is by Aeonium Sky, which is really cool. But they guaranteed you that airdrop and that exclusivity. So if you look, I actually have some of the airdrops here and some of the artwork that you can go ahead and see. But some of the artwork that was announced and guaranteed was from Cypherkicks, which one of my favorites from here is, you know, Cypherkicks are pretty dope. They did the recent collaboration with Deadpxlz. But you can see here, which is funny, is you know, they got the zombie guy with his leg falling off with a Cypherkick, but he's about to dunk into the actual basketball hoop itself. And if you look down to the bottom left there, you can see a building that is very familiar as far as the shape itself. It is mimicking the Ethereum blockchain. So he's kind of Cardano's dunking on Ethereum.
Okay.
So people picked up on that. So Cypherkicks is one of the airdrops down there, as well as the actual Deadpxlz himself, which are, again,
I actually didn't
huge.
pick up on that at first until you just said that.
Yeah, a lot of people picked up on that on Twitter. And in Deadpxlz, obviously, it's got their the reptile, Wolverine, alien, and vampire, all their 4, you know, main rare ones. It's another NFT airdrop from the LegacyPass itself. Dracano is another NFT that they had inspired with a little bit of the Buffy bot theme to it. You have another one which I missed out on completely, was FortGotten.
Oh yeah.
They took off, man. They're doing really well. I unfortunately didn't mint any of their stuff, but
you've been watching them all week, right?
I have been after the fact.
Yeah.
Like I
yeah,
missed
that's what I
them.
mean. Yeah,
missed
you've
them
been
off
just
of
like,
yeah.
oh man, I can't believe I missed this. Just been watching it all week.
Yeah, and luckily for me, I'll get an airdrop on this because of that. But FortGotten is another one, which again, these are all high quality drops. You can TheRoninUniverse on this. These guys blew up a little bit too, because they announced like a prototype of their 3D like video art. You can see they're making like a game out of this, and so this was highly sought after as well. So another high quality blue chip type of project that seems to be developing here down the line. And then Sushi Bites, which I think we mentioned in the last episode, had another airdrop, as well as the AtackonVitalik, which is a Cardano comic book. I think I own episode 1. I think I missed out on the most recent one. But again, comic book of NFT on that. They had an airdrop. You have withspaces, which I think they have actually 4 designs on this too. You know, and it's just they're one of theirs with the Buffy bot sitting in the back of it. And then, of course, YummiUniverse was the big one. And YummiUniverse, if you own this LegacyPass, they're doing 5 different variations of it. So you can see it here with the Buffy bot itself, you know, armor, it looks like almost, as well as a collaboration. They have the Yummy with Ada Racers. They have the Yummy with Meepo, which is another artist out there as well. And another Buffy bot version for the Yummy. And lastly, that just got announced was the Beyond Rockets, which does all the different cities and floors. And
sick.
I like Beyond Rockets. It's awesome. Actually,
that one.
I just saw today he's doing a Halloween drop on the 31st as well for the 3rd and 4th floors. That are
a lot
of
Halloween drops coming out now.
Dude, yeah. Speaking of Halloween drops on this stuff, we can kind of transition into some of that stuff. We know it's NFT week for Halloween, and Halloween's the first big like major holiday that is out. And I think in this NFT world that we're going through before Christmas. And like we talked about, everybody's doing a holiday theme. Like if you're not a big project, like everybody's looking at you like, come on, like, you know, what are you going to give us? Airdrop, whether it
Yeah.
be something. And, you know, we definitely got our eyes, I think, on some of the Halloween stuff. How about you, Tom? What are you looking at this week for Halloween stuff?
Well, I think Halloween. I mean, I was gonna say Halloween's the best holiday for it. I think too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Be whatever you want, right?
you can have like some Thanksgiving themed stuff, like that might be fun, you know. Especially like, I could see some like the Yummy, like I could see them doing some things with like the turkeys and stuff like that, or some Thanksgiving things. But Halloween is great. Like there's so much they can do with it and get creative.
Yeah.
I mean, Yummy is my big one that I'm gonna be watching because I have the Yummy. I'm interested in the Clay one, even though I don't myself have a Clay yet. I'm just,
Like
you know,
yet. Like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Oh, hopefully, I'm
me and
planning on
TJ
getting
are
in
on
there.
that crowd.
I'm working on it. But it's still, I just like watching the project, so I'll be interested to see how that goes. Especially too, because like you said, it's the first big holiday, and they're both doing it so different. They're both exclusive to the drop holders, but I know the Yummy for sure. We don't even have the minutes yet. It's just the hour for us. It's
Spoopy
10
hour.
a.m. Yeah, it's just a spoopy hour, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. So you gotta be paying attention and ready to go.
Eastern. Yep.
Yeah, for us it's 10 a.m. Yeah, exactly, Eastern time on Friday. And then Clay's, I know it's a full price drop, but I don't know all the details.
They just announced some stuff in their Discord today. So Clay's is actually on the 31st, which is on Halloween. And they're taking a snapshot by I believe it's 1600 UTC or 12 o'clock Eastern time for us on October 29th on Friday. That is the cutoff. They're taking a snapshot of all the Clays, all 10,000 of. You have to be a ClayNation 10,000 holder in order to mint the Halloween one. And they're gonna basically be a 1-to-1. So if you own one ClayNation, you get to mint one Halloween. If you own 5 ClayNations, you get to mint 5 ClayNations for the drop. And any of them that don't get minted out of that 10,000 during that time 24-hour time window, never will. So you have, I think 12 o'clock is the start time, or 1600 UTC on Sunday 31st. And then they're going to run a 24-hour period until Sunday or Monday the 1st. And after that, it's over. So, but the good thing about, like TJ was talking about, that is there's no rush, right? You go in there and you get whatever you want. It's 50 ADA, which is a full price drop. It is pretty pricey, but it also is 300 NFTs. And those 300 NFTs all have random attributes. So there's going to be different rarities out of the community that develop out of that. On top of that, they also have 300 random airdrops to lucky holders that participate in that event that have for GoodCharlotte. They're going to drop some special NFTs to 300 different holders. And I don't know if correct me if I'm wrong on this. I don't know if you guys saw, they have like a portrait they released today for GoodCharlotte. If I could share the screen on this one more time for what I got going on. But you can kind of see, here it is.
The young and the helpless one you're talking about? Or hopeless?
Yeah, the young and the helpless. This one right here. So you
I did see that. I was going to send that to you guys. I thought that was awesome. It's fantastic.
So, hey, is that a Cardano
cool.
sent in there? Yeah, are they racing those things? But yeah, so those are.
But 50 is a lot. It's a good drop price, but you're getting. I mean, you aren't like the Clay. You know, the Clay.
I mean, look at
you're
these
actually
things.
getting a Clay. Yeah, exactly. It's not like you're getting.
It's worth it for sure.
Just some like little novelty thing or some like like half like Halloween thing. You're getting a Clay still, and they're all cool. And even if you're not into the art necessarily yourself, like just the value instead, just in Clay. They're worth getting.
They are that blue chip top tier project. Exactly. And they're also being they're in collaboration with GoodCharlotte. They're with JoelMadden. You can tell he's very passionate about these CNFTs too. So they're working with somebody who's directly involved with the community, but he's also a supporter and just participant of the community itself. I actually had my interaction with him finally on Twitter. He's been in all these spaces and stuff. And I think we got introduced, Tom, to what was the drop the other day for Steve 3PO, who does the Naut helmets. Yeah, he does the astronaut helmets basically. And they
which
all
was
have
the same
themes.
Day as Ada Nauts, which I kept getting. It was driving me nuts. So I was messing that up like all day long.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull back up. I'm gonna pull back up the screen just because of that though. Because he what do you call it, for the actual Nauts itself? Let's see if I have Steve in here. Yeah, these things right here. So they had all these different themes. There was, there was 250 total, and they each had 5 different themes for each of them. But these are all they're genuine artwork, and from what I understood from him was he took 4 weeks to develop these 250 NFTs for these things.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
he's a
no, I'm
single
huge fan
guy
of
doing his
those.
mint. And they're dope, and the mint price
awesome.
was high. They were 225 ADA. Like, they were not like a joke thing. And still, those things sold out instantly. I got refunded on my NamiWallet. I think, Tom, you did as well. We both missed that on it.
Instantly, dude. I got F35. I got fucked. It was stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I was so excited because also it was the same. It was 3 p.m. for us, East Coast time, and it was the same time as DGen, which I also was very excited about too. We've been following that. And I just the hype and community and stuff was big on that one too. So I thought, if anything, it'll have some value to it. But Steve 3PO, I really like the art a ton on that one. But I was so torn, and I was sending for both and ended up with nothing at the end of it. There was so much congestion yesterday with that. Even getting I got 2 confirmed for Steve 3PO.
Yeah.
And doing what you said too, like where you kind of go and look at your transaction number in the blockchain. There wasn't a lot of information I was finding his Discord on what like the last transaction was. So I wasn't really sure, but I was still fast with Nami and just nothing.
I got nothing, right?
Yeah.
And I actually found, like, I did tweet JoelMadden from GoodCharlotte on that. I was like, I actually found Steve 3PO from him. He was tweeting about it. It's like, this is great artwork. And I looked at it, I'm like, wow, those things are really cool looking. And I looked at the price on it, I'm like, wow, those things are selling for like 600, 700, 800 ADA plus on some of those Nauts. So I was like, he wrote in his thing over here, he posted a giveaway, Steve 3PO. Joel was like, yo, good luck minting one. And I responded, I'm like, oh, I found him. I'm going for my first one tomorrow. JoelMadden responded to me. He's like, I hope you get one. Will be fun. And I kind of gave him an update later. I'm like, yo, just posted the Borat meme. Like, you will never get this. You will never get this. La, la, la. Guess your boy never. Yeah. One day.
But yeah, I never thought you'd be talking.
One day, maybe I predict Cage and I get this. But for right now.
Well, I just think it's awesome that he joins those Twitter spaces and talks.
He takes a lot of time out. Yeah, no, he like genuinely enjoys it.
Random guys talk.
He's genuinely into it. He's not just like promoting his own NFT drops, 10,000 Good Charlotte drop coming up or something. Like he's actually into it. He was already into it, then he just put himself into the space.
Yeah, he's been like a community, like, if anything, he's been like the forefront leader for like, as far as celebrities go, to go ahead and like bridge that gap of like mainstream media and like art, and he's able to connect everybody over to the Cardano community. He's in every little Twitter space. He's been talking about it every day. You can tell he's just like us, but at a way higher scale as far as like celebrity wise goes. But he just enjoys doing it. You can tell it, and he enjoys the artwork, and he likes the community that's developing out of it. And it's cool how accessible it is to get to him, because he's like Twitter space. Literally, we jumped in. He was with the Claymates the other day. It's funny because these normal people on Twitter are just able to interact with him and talk to him, and it's like nothing ever happened. Even the FortGotten, everybody's sending him over different artwork and directly to him, because they know he's a big part of the community itself. And it's cool to kind of see that stuff. But yeah, man, he's been a big influence into some of this stuff. So it's cool to see somebody like rallying for the CNFT community itself.
Well, the Clays do it right. I mean, the Clays do it. You see with the trees where they just have a good time with it. Like they all enjoy, you see it in Discords when people see other people with Clay profile pictures in Discord or even on Twitter. And then, and you see with the trees too, where they can then have a laugh about it and a joke. Like they're just always having a good time every time they post something about it.
Yeah. Trees, man. To talk about the trees real quick, just to dial back. We did release our eltano video last week. And I had actually messaged eltano prior to us putting it in. We're like, hey man, we're making a video about you. Are you cool with that? And he just dropped, King, I love you. Like, you guys are awesome. Freedom35ers, I'll watch your potty all day. Like, he was having fun with it. He had no idea what we were talking about. And then I actually sent him over the video, and he was just like, he had the coolest reaction to me. Like, it was like he was like, we were like best friends on the stuff. He was all caps lock. I'm going to go back and actually just kind of quickly brief summary what he has. And he was just like, you guys, this is amazing. I love you guys. You guys are kings. I'm laughing my ass off. Keep doing your potty, bro. I'm going to watch this shit on repeat. He goes, I want the Freedom35ers to be a household name. I'll spread the message. And then his hashtag became even more popular. He said is let's fucking grow.
That's right. Let's fucking grow for sure.
Yeah. And then even the reception into that, like I was telling you guys, I jumped into the trees Discord last night, and and this guy in there, he was just like, I think his name was Pesky Squirrel. He was just like, you know, I just went in there, was like, hey guys, I really just appreciate the engagement that you guys are doing on Twitter. The trees have been way more active. I appreciate you guys. This is a great Discord to be in. And then some guy linked, he's like, by the way, check out their podcast, you know. And then from there, we all had an interaction. It was cool to see this is support for the community. It's cool to see people shouting everybody out. And then everybody really, that is a big thing in this space, is that everybody really, for the most part, supports each other and is looking out for each other, which is
well,
really
you weren't
cool.
even going in to do that, to promote the podcast. You were just going there to say that you really supported their community and their art. You weren't doing that at all for the podcast at all.
I hate the term like shilling. Like I'm never trying, like, especially us growing right now, it's weird, right? Like I want to grow. I want everybody to get our message out, but at the same time, I'm very like to the point where I'm kind of nervous to even say that I have a podcast with people, because I don't want it to people to like, oh, this guy's just promoting his stuff. Like that's all he's here to do. Yeah. Like I don't like that. And
what's his angle now that he has a, you know what I'm saying, with his podcast?
Yeah, like dude, we're regular guys. Like
we were doing this already.
Yeah,
we were just chatting already, and I mean we've had some positive response, so at least we know some people somewhat enjoy listening to it. So you know we'll keep posting it, but either way we're going to be doing this no matter what. So
of course,
whether you listen to us or not, we're having fun.
Exactly.
We're
going to have these conversations.
We're going to be talking to somebody. I don't know who it is, but you know.
I was going to say, when you talked to Fettuccine, when you had the question for him, JoelMadden was in that, and you actually kind of like
ask him.
Yeah, kind of like sidestep. And I'm like, oh, excuse me, sir. But Fettuccine, you actually had like a real question. You were just there because you were curious about the question you had. That was the reason you're in there. Yeah.
I would love to ask him something, but at the same time, I'm not there because I'm jumping into the Twitter space to be like, hey, by the way, Fettuccine Sig Project, Joel, hey, I just wanted to talk to you. I've been a long time fan. That kind of like, there's man, it's like, yes, you're in there. You're cool. Like, it's awesome. I'd love to talk to him. I'd love to, you know, whatever, interact, and you know, that'd be awesome. Hey, you want to jump on the podcast one day and like talk? Cool, that's awesome. But right now, I'm actually curious on Fettuccine's project, because that was the space that was open.
Well, that's why the Cardano NFTs are so great, because it does have that kind of like casualness to some of the communities that it's accessible, you know, because then also since the price is a little bit lower too, it's not like Ethereum, so you know, it's not as kind of like snooty, like everyone's just kind of here having a good time. Like this isn't $80,000 for the floor. Like we're not all millionaires over here. We're all just chilling and trying to get some cool art and have some cool value in it too.
Yeah, I think it was a conversation. I think we did. So I've been trying to get a little more active, right? Like I feel like our roles, right, as a podcast, we've started to develop like our own little niches inside of this actual podcast itself. My role has been like, because I've been the earliest one out of the three of us in the actual CNFT marketplace, was me starting to network with people, starting to market a little bit our page.
You enjoy it too, though.
Oh, yeah, I like talking to people.
Yeah, you enjoy that already anyway, and you're interested in the space independently, so you were already looking into it.
Yeah, and I think I jumped into my first Twitter space. It was nervous as hell. Like I think the Cardano convo, and I also shout out to this that CNFT show. He was the one who reached out to us and was like, hey, you need to come check this out. It was on Tuesday. We're going to talk about it. So I think it was at 7 p.m. Eastern. And he's like, come jump into this with us. And we did, and I did, and just started talking to people and just explaining what we do. And then, you know, there's people in the crowd that actually were like, so how did you guys get started? What's your process for creating the podcast itself? And then, you know, just what's your state, you know, like, what's your take? Like, are you guys there for more an investment? Are you guys there for the collection? Like, where is your head at with that? And I know what my answer is, and I did talk about it on that thing, but I'd like to ask both of you guys kind of that, like, where's your state at in this actual marketplace? Are you guys still in it to, you know, eventually, I think eventually we're all want to make some sort of money, right? But at the end of the day, I'm starting to find myself as more of a collector. I'm like not wanting to like let go of these things that I buy, even though sometimes I probably should in order to get there. But like, Tom, let's take you first. Like, where are you at on that?
I mean, yeah, we all got into it originally just because of crypto, especially just because of the money that you can make. You know, we weren't doing crypto because we thought it was cool to have like crypto, like an NFT. But as we've done it more, I mean, especially with communities and stuff like that, we've seen it'd be hard to part with the Yummy, even if I sold it. Or like you were saying, TJ, where you were thinking like if I really needed to sell a clay for the liquidity because like you have a rare clay, but then buy back in to have.
I was going to do that.
You're going to buy two more, just not as like high of a rarity, because you want to stay in the projects. It's cool and you like them. And then I mean, I first started seeing it with like Space Bud drops, where kids would say that they would like have bought it, like they just bought their first Space Buds and, you know, they spent whatever crazy amount of money on it, but they've been doing this for a while. And yeah, and it's just something that they finally were like, hey, this is a kind of like where I'm at now, that I've been wanting to have these, or one of these already, or like I said, I want to get a Yummy. I'm trying to build up to it where I can grab myself a Yummy. It'd be cool to have. So I've been enjoying getting into the art for some of these projects, especially as we discover more too, like Steve 3PO. His stuff is crazy, and seeing those, like I want one. Like I'm gonna do as much as I can to get in on the next one. I don't know if I can snag one, especially his old drops, but even these new ones off the secondary. But his next one, I'm gonna be ready for it. I'm gonna be ready to go and definitely snag one.
I think for me, it started out honestly, like when we're talking with you, I wanted to do a lot of just flips, right? Just talking with you, just hearing how much you can make from them. But I think as this community is growing and as I'm learning more and just seeing more and more of the drops, I really am becoming like you, a collector, but I'm also still going to want to flip some stuff as well. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I mean, but I also am going to keep the ones I truly like and believe in and want to support
100%.
and just want to have, honestly. I think some of them look like, I was telling you tonight, the Wraith one I got. I love my little Wraith guy. This little green guy with a little coffee mug. That thing's sick. I'm not getting rid of that thing. I like that one.
I feel like the same way, right? Like I have my NFTs that I buy because I like now. Just it's for the fact that like, dude, that's sick looking. I like that. I'm gonna buy that. Maybe one day it's gonna be worth something, but right now I'm cool. Like even if it's like the 4 tanks on some stuff, I'm cool with hanging on to it for right now because I like the way it looks. And then there's the other ones where you do get into those profile pictures or just whatever, it may be a hyped up thing where I'm going to buy it. I'm going to flip a little bit because at the end of the day, I'm not made of money either. And I need to go ahead and be able to do some. So I need to be able to the zip and flip. That's what we first originally were when we first got into this. It was like zip and flip, baby. Buy one, sell one, buy one, sell one, stack. Yeah. And now as I find myself like I buy and then I hoard. And then I buy and then I hoard. I'm like, no, I want this.
You're the hoarder that's like, no, just wait a little bit longer, It's going to get higher. It's going to get higher.
And not even that it's going to get higher. I'm just, I don't want to part with it sometimes. I'm like, no, this is mine. Like I bought this. Like nobody else has this right now. Right.
My Yummy. I'd rather, I mean, at this point, I want to buy another one just so I can sell that one and keep my original.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Because it's going to be tough to part with those. And and just trade them off. It's going to be difficult.
Well, the projects that are the highest for me are the ones I want to keep the most.
Right. But I think there's also a reason that you want to keep those because you think they're valuable. First off, they're cool looking. And then at that, it's like, I know they're going to be worth you become like, as that NFT holder, when we tell people like, I don't get NFTs. It's like, well, once you buy one, you start to understand it a little bit because it's like, now I'm part of this group. I don't just have the profile. Like if NFTs didn't have the community behind them, I feel like they would be worthless partly on some of that, to some degree. Like obviously there's any 100%. Kind of art form, like if any kind of art form, the reason art is valuable is because there are people who appreciate it.
Yep.
Otherwise there would be no value in those things. So it's the same way where we're at right now, but we're in a unique web like 3.0 of like, I own this, you own this, we're in a community together. And now we get to discuss how like sick this is to us. Like that we hold this specific asset right now.
Yeah, the community creates that demand too, because people come in like, all right, cNFTs, let me try these out. Where am I going to go buy in? And they see people like in the Trees Discord or like the Yummy guys on Twitter and stuff like that. And like, this is the one I want to be a part of and buy into for sure, 100%.
Yeah, I think that's the coolest thing. Like I said, before we were in this, I was never. I did like 2-3 Discords that would be in. I have like a fucking 100 of them, and I'm like,
my gosh, I
started condensing
for all of them.
I have notifications on for some too, and
you can make folders. Wait a second.
Oh yeah, you just drag.
Oh man, all right, you got something to do after this. Well, no, I mean we've done all right. We've had a couple good trades in there where we've seen some value in some projects and gotten out. And that's just as exciting and fun to do as well, and make some money on it and see the value in the community. But maybe you just don't want to keep the art, it's not for you, and you can still make some money and get it to someone that either sees value in it or wants to buy it. But we've done all right on a few, so now we're getting to where we do that sneak where, all right, I'm going to buy 3, I'm not just going to buy 1. So now I can zip really and flip real fast. Yep. Yeah, I got one. I can just flip it. I can zip and flip on that one. I'll take the profit maybe off the FOMO right after the drop of people wanting to buy in when it skyrockets, or maybe it corrects and it settles down and gets a good floor again. You sell it. Then I still have the 2 that I can sit on and get my airdrops and see what happens and be a part of things. Because it'd be kind of weird to have your profile picture be someone else's NFT or just one you didn't own
Exactly.
it. Like if you
Oh, yeah.
sold it, if you sold one of those and then
You
still
didn't
had
change your
that,
picture.
yeah,
Kinda weird.
you'd feel like an imposter. It'd be weird. You'd have
Yeah.
to change you'd have to change the picture. It'd also just be weird to look at. I wouldn't want to look at it anymore. Be reminded, like, all right, I got to buy a new one now.
Right. Yeah, dude.
But I mean, like going back to the podcast, like shout out to Tom Lavish Bear and the editing. I don't know if you guys know in the podcast that you guys watch the video, he's doing all the editing, all the cutting of the clips, all the sounds. He's doing a fantastic job. Tommy, shouting out for the marketing, the networking. You guys are killing it.
Well, appreciate it. Yeah. And I think everybody has a role to play inside of this right now. And everybody's starting, like, there's like something inside of us where we're starting to shine right now and like our own light out of this group itself. And it's exciting too. Like when people say, I mean, for me too, it's like when people talk about like doing stuff you like or doing something that you enjoy in life, whether it be for work, this kind of stuff is this is no joke. Like we put a lot of hours into this stuff, even on the side after work.
Oh yeah. But you know, even the day before we even record this, we talk about stuff.
Yeah.
The day after we kind of collab with Tom with what's the editing going to be like, what we're going to throw in there, what are we going to do, like little clips and stuff. So
yeah.
Definitely.
It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop on just the record day. Yes, we record on every Wednesday, but in order to get that episode released on every Friday, there goes in a lot of thought process. You know, we're pre-planning these episodes now because we've gotten to the point where we're like, all right, we've released some stuff out to the public. We want to continue to up our game. We don't want to just like be another, you know, just like half-ass kind of thing that just starts out and starts talking. We're trying to up our game. You know, you can tell up here, right? Tom's got these logos up here for Halloween. You know, like he's really killing that game. And I've had specific people reach out to us on the marketing side and be like, hey guys, I like your editing, like other content creators. So to see Tom like take that off right there, without him, we wouldn't have the graphics and the things that we do. So it is a testament to how each of our strengths, and TJ, he's been able to get our podcasts into the actual Spotify
podcast, like an actual podcast, like such just audio, like it's not a video, like you got it like official.
Yeah,
which is a little more I want to say complicated, but there's a little more to it than I was expecting.
Way more, right. Yeah.
We're all learning, right? Like
especially compared to like YouTube, like where you just like upload video. Yeah, sure, no problem.
Like,
yeah,
YouTube's easy, right?
The file, like
what's an RSS link and feed that I have to copy and paste to this? What's going on here?
Yeah, I will say that I didn't realize how popular Apple was for the podcast because we did launch it on Spotify, original audio. That was super easy to do. But we had some demand from our guys from I want to get it on Apple because that's where I listen to my stuff for. So I think for like the past few days, we've been trying to link an Apple ID without having an actual phone or Apple product, and that was not working out well. So TJ was able to work through some details finally this week, and I think yesterday we finally got it on Apple. So we are official on Apple Podcasts. If you're listening to this right now and you're on Apple, thank TJ for that because that was tough to do. So we will be posting about that too.
And it's been wild. I mean, one, seeing how I guess international the CNFT community is, because I just would have never known, but then just also seeing who's kind of tuning in, it gives us that information. We had like someone from the Philippines, a couple people from like Belgium and Holland,
Netherlands.
It's been pretty cool to see.
Yeah,
I think it was Czech Republic too. We had one too as well, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's been pretty wild to see that.
Yeah, so we're reaching a dynamic audience right now, and I think we've been reaching out a little bit, and we've had people approach us even recently. We got like over, I think we jumped from like 60 from the last time we did this episode a week ago, from like 50 followers on Twitter to over 100. We're pushing like close to 120 right now. So we've over 50, we've done really well for ourselves in this last week. And you have people now starting to reach out to us and like, hey guys, I'd like to talk to you on some stuff. So it just shows how quick the growth is happening, but also just the demand for wanting to talk to people in a space and helping each other grow. It's really cool to be approached by others, and then also the help that people are willing to offer in this space.
Well, the spaces you've been doing, I mean, because you were in an Aeonium Sky space too, Tommy.
Yeah.
And there was like 22 people in that. Some of the other ones, there's like 20 to 50 people in all those spaces. And they're all quite a few of them are contributing. A lot of people like to be able to get in there and actually mix it up and raise their hand or whatever it is on our Twitter Spaces. I don't know what it is to get like your
you
whatever
it is. Speaking of Twitter Spaces for our guy
involved too.
I agree. It's an easy way to get involved with whoever's in the community. It's a quick access to them, and I think as long as, just for people listening right now, for Twitter Spaces, that seems to be the new, like, you know, we do this podcast and you hear us on YouTube, you hear us on whatever audio, Apple or Spotify that you're listening to. But if you're trying to get like a direct engagement, I know a lot of people used to go to Twitch or YouTube, like the live streams. Now people are going into Twitter Spaces as easy as like going right on your phone, but it also has to be on your phone in order for you to join mic'd up. And you can just click on it, be in there as a listener. If you want to talk to somebody, you click the request button right down there. And if the host allows you to, you'll be promoted to a speaker. And then you can just unmute your mic and start talking to whoever these people are. And it's that simple to get in front of them. So it's really cool and accessible to be in this space right now, especially where we're at in the CNFT world, where it's a big community, but it's very, very small. So if you're starting out right now, or just to anybody looking to start out, it's not too late at all. Like you're still in the beginning,
very early.
You know,
well, it's exciting because I mean, there's so much happening every day, not only just drops, but just in general, of just news and upcoming drops and airdrops and releases for those. That, like you guys were saying, how much time we spent on this, and part of that is, you know, putting in like some work, which has been fun to do. And it's like a creative, like collaborative effort, but you know, like last night we got on just to kind of chat some about what was going on, and then end up staying on way later than we were planning, just talking about NFTs.
I'm like, dude, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah, like just because we've been talking about what actually was happening, what we were buying, and the drops coming up today and yesterday. All the drops that happened yesterday, we were still watching some of them, and just watching like the pool prices or the floor prices and stuff like that. And even Tommy, when we were, you know, messing around, I think it was in the morning on the weekend. You just kind of mentioned like, hey, jump on Discord real fast. I had an idea for like a little eltano clip, and I was like, yeah, cool. And we started kind of putting it together because you gave me an idea, and then we were on for like 4 or 5 hours.
The one Saturday I work in a while, and you guys are on for like 12 hours.
But yeah, it just wasn't planned. Yeah, just like we just ended up being like, oh, this is a lot of fun to do, and we just got into it. Like we were just digging it, feeling it in that moment. It was a good time.
The time kind of flies with that stuff too. And
that
it's like,
too, yeah.
It because you're doing something that you love, and I wish like we would have done something like this even sooner than we did, but I'm glad that we're doing it right now, because it's like, it's scary for anybody to want to, you know, pursue their dream, pursue something that they like, just even, but the biggest thing is just start, man. Is go out there, try, do something, and that'll spark your creativity. If you have a passion for that kind of stuff, you will enjoy the time that you're spending doing it, and then just keep the content rolling. You know, people, you know, we're not out here looking for 1 million views on our videos. We're not out here looking for all these different subs and all these different stuff. We're just out here talking. And if there's a people that want to come in, enjoy, and communicate with us and talk, that's what we're here for. Because we're doing that already. You know, it's not changing anything different than we're normally doing. We're just out there to connect with a bigger audience.
We're just putting it out there for everyone else to see too. That's really what we're doing, honestly.
And Cardano, you see that passion. I mean, you see in the community, like we, you know, even just listening to cNFTcon and hearing everyone's accents like around the world. It's an international community where I never would have expected it. It's just not what I heard in my head. But seeing the people listening to our podcast and stuff like that, like the community is international. So it's cool to see that and that passion with all those guys.
Yeah, and the fact that Cardano is still like even now, it's still so early. They just released their smart contracts back on September 12th, and things are the official like DApps are just starting to be developed. We're not even in that stage yet. So like Ethereum obviously has got a few years on us when it comes to that. So I can only imagine when all that stuff starts to roll out, like where Cardano will be during that time. It's always a meme to hate on Cardano, or it's like they're working on it, they're putting the time, but nothing ever happens. They never show up, and it's just like, yes, you can joke about that, but like eventually, you know, everything that they said they wanted to do, they've hit, and they're gonna do it. It's just once they get to that point, they're gonna shoot. In my opinion, they're gonna be that one of those that top. They're already in that top 3. They're gonna continue to stay there. And the NFT world you can testament to the low transaction fees already compared to Ethereum. The scalability needs to catch up, but the utility will be there for being on that network.
Well, I mean, and this goes beyond what I understand, and maybe we'll talk to someone someday that can explain this better to all of us. But from what I understand, like the Cardano blockchain is difficult to code on, or is it just very complex? I mean, not that any of them are simple, but this one just even has more to it, which is part of what I guess makes it great. But it does make it a little slower and more difficult to make improvements on over time. So they are working on it. It just takes them more time because it is complicated. And again, I don't fully understand all that anyway, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I think, you know, there's a lot that we can all learn into this space. And I think you're getting to meet, you have access to meet some cool people in here that can obviously explain, like that Twitter space last night was, they started going into taxes, they started going into legalities of things and where everything's going. And it just started to go like that over me. And I'm like, I'm going to bail out. I understand this on like a certain level. I'm sure I'm going to get there and I'm going to want to know about this. But for now, like, let me just take the, stay in my lane.
Let me just get some art, man.
Let me just hang on, enjoy where I'm at in this space, and we'll go from there. But yeah, man. So to kind of push towards the back end, because I know we can talk about this all day, all night. So for Halloween, we're in Halloween era right now. There's a lot of cool drops that are coming on. I know we talked about Yummy. They have their Spoopy hour that is kicking off this Friday, the 29th, between 10 and 11 a.m. Eastern time. And people who are in that, they haven't announced the specific time in there. It's just that window. Keep an eye out. Notifications on. They're going to drop a thing. 10,000 drop, all unique combinations. There's 4 legendary type drops out there you can get for 5 ADA. It's going to be an awesome quick mint. I think another ones that we were talking about is the Mastodon buttons. They're on Friday the 29th as well for 33 ADA.
I didn't realize that. All right, cool, nice.
They have like an animated GIF type of NFT drop as well.
Okay.
We talked about Claymates already. Obviously, that's a big one. If you're in ClayNation, you better make sure you're minting on that. Sunday the 31st, starting at 12 p.m. Eastern time for 24 hours. And then I don't know. There's a few other ones that are out there. I know Adamon. I'm not too far invested in, but like the Pokemon on Cardano, they're starting on
Cypherkicks, which I like that they do a lot of collabs. Yeah. They've been heavy into that, but they have a collab coming up this weekend, I think, too, on the 30th.
Cypherkicks has one with the Hoskinsons, which reminds me of like the Simpsons kind of thing, like the yellow kind of guys.
Okay,
yeah, very similar.
Yeah,
so they have theirs coming up this weekend.
I believe I'm not in either of those. I never was able to get one of the Cypherkicks.
That's exclusive too, right? You have to have their previous drop to get in on.
You have to have a Hoskinson, I think.
Okay.
Don't quote me on it, but I know they got their own thing going on right now. So those are the big one. And then TJ, I know your Lion Legends is dropping on Friday now. I know that was like a redrop.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little research on that a little bit more. I don't know if I'm gonna do it for sure or not, but it is dropping Friday. It's 55. It's a higher one than the usual. But they had to postpone it from last week. I don't remember why. I have to look into it again.
I think Fadukin was out there. They were talking about, they were like a high quality mint, and people were just like kind of skeptical on like the minting like I guess who they were using to mint or something like that, or they were kind of vague on some stuff. And then they got access to Fadukin, who was like a big just personality inside the Cardano actual space itself, and he kind of verified like, hey, no, these guys are legit.
Yeah, he said he got on the phone with them and everything and was talking. I saw that the tweet he posted about it. Yeah,
so their things dropping on Friday, and it may be worth something to look at. It is a very steep price for 55 ADA per mint, but there is 5,000, I think 555 of them that are out there. So I mean,
I'm interested because of that. Like if it was 10,000, I probably just wouldn't like it. I wouldn't touch it probably. Just because of how packed the weekend is, how everything's Halloween themed.
Well, that's just the dilemma is like how packed it is.
Yeah, everything's and this week's been packed. There's been drops, multiple drops every single day. So people are gonna be low, and just trying to get that sold out is always my concern, to keep the demand up so where the floor doesn't drop below mint price. But because it's 5,500, I mean, with DGen was 2,500, right? Yesterday, and seeing that, I mean, the 25 to 55, where the space is at right now in the community, and just the amount of ADA people have that we see flowing around, 10K is hard. Even, we saw 10Ks sell out in 20 minutes. Today took almost 3 hours, I think, with Voodoo, or 3 or 4 hours to actually sell out. It took quite a while.
And credit to them though for selling out for 10K.
Yeah, for sure. That's what exactly. Yeah, you never even know. I got in because even if was kind of concerned about them selling out, I just like the Voodoo art on these ones.
Right.
But exactly, like seeing 10K is always kind of like, at this point with how things have been selling and the projects we've been seeing, kind of screw people over, 10Ks don't really move like they were 5 weeks ago when we first started. No. So the 55 though, it definitely has my interest because that could kind of keep it moving along and actually add some value.
But like you said though, like if it dropped last week, I was 100% getting it.
Yeah.
But because there's so much stuff going on this week, I'm like 55.
And it's a Halloween weekend, so just like everyone's kind of more into busy that. They're so tuned into Halloween though too. Like you're gonna have the Yummy drop and the You said the mob drops that day too on Friday, right?
Mob drops on that day. You
So
got
you have
Atom
mob
on
and
that day.
Yummy already, and mob is a 33 drop, so it's not like, you know, it's not 5 like Yummy. It's not just kind of like a fun one. It's a real drop. So getting in and throwing another 55 in the line, and I just feel like it doesn't have that Halloween theme, which everyone's just kind of be in that mood and
Or in that week, right?
So, yeah, it's just that, especially on Friday, like everyone's getting out of work, and I don't know what time the line one was at. Did you say what time?
I think it's at 12. It was
okay,
at 12
but just
last week. I think they kept the same time, 12 p.m. Eastern time. I think
everyone's just looking to get out of work and ready for Halloween, you know, ready to do whatever, dress up, go to, you know, watch movies, go to parties. So
yeah,
the Lion, it last week would have been perfect. It just kind of, since it's off season, it kind of throws it off for me too. Like I forget that, like, oh yeah, it's not actually Halloween.
We're gonna come down off this Halloween high though, right after it. So I'm gonna be curious to see what happens to the ClayNations after Halloween drops come through. I'm gonna be curious what happens to the Yummy floor when everything drops through with those 10,000, because you're gonna have a lot more into the market. It's going to saturate those projects itself. So I'm curious to see how that impacts those individual things by doing those drops from Halloween.
Well, then how fast we see the flip too. Like, is everyone announcing their Thanksgiving project November 2nd, you know, or is people going to, you know, I could see like Clay, and I think Yummy, I think they could do a good Thanksgiving theme, you know, just because it's, it's kind of, they got a lot of children's stuff, you know, at Thanksgiving. It would look cute, like for the Yummies, that kind of stuff, and it would sell well, and people would like that. That's kind of their appeal. But are people going to just skip Thanksgiving right away and like announce like all their Christmas airdrops? Like, how fast are they going to start getting into that? And then, like you said, what's going to happen with the floor? Like, if they announce secondary airdrops here for Christmas, is that going to help keep pushing some of these up, because they've all been kind of trending upward with the corrections, or are they going to kind of get stagnant here as we get past? Because Halloween's been great for their promo.
Oh yeah, and I think I got into last week. I was talking about a Grumpy Bunny, and I got lucky. I had a Daedalus wallet and managed to get one of 300 Grumpy Bunnies. So I said, "Fuck it," I bought one finally. And they're doing a utility for anybody who had the Halloween drop. They're doing a November airdrop for them. So, and then before their Series 2 drops. So there's definitely, I don't know what's going to happen in that Thanksgiving timeline, but there, of course, you could see new stuff come and emerge from that. And obviously Christmas is going to be a huge one for people too.
And DGen, I didn't get to look at enough of them, because they all the DGen, every single one was guaranteed at least one holiday drop to come with it. So we know someone that got a drop for this coming Christmas, and I know we got one that had next Halloween. I don't know, there's probably Thanksgiving. I would assume they had Thanksgiving in there.
Probably, yeah. Like, so they're tying holidays in just to kind of hold on to them for a little bit longer.
I think Thanksgiving might be regional too, like depending on where you are.
That's true too. That's true. I never considered
true.
that. Yeah, 100%. You're right. Yep. I'm thinking in the bubble. 100%.
Yeah, right.
So like people, you know, depending on where the artist is from. In fact, I think
Canada had a Canadian Thanksgiving.
Oh, theirs is way before ours. And then the Yummy artists, I think, were from, I don't want to be wrong, but the UK or something, Tommy. I know.
I think London was where they're from.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Like, based off their interview, yeah.
But yeah, they're not going to make. Yeah, exactly. They're not going to do Thanksgiving drop. That would make sense.
Right, and even Christmas is a touchy subject because it is different. It's regional.
But holiday, you just do
do holiday.
Right, you do a holiday theme. Yeah,
just that holiday like theme, or that winter holiday, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. Winter theme for sure.
Just, you know, all holidays, but yeah, exactly. So,
but it's cool to see, like, we are in that time when we talked about we're in the NFTs, it's holiday time, and everybody's going to kind of cater some stuff to that. It's just going to be interesting and provides more utility for these projects. I think it's an excuse to get involved more with their communities. So it's kind of cool to see. This is the first push. We'll see what happens after that. But I'm excited to, you know, that it's fun to be able to, whatever project you're in, somebody's got something going on this week for you.
I'm just looking forward to, like you said, just to see what's going to happen the next couple of weeks for the holidays and into next year too. How the marketplace and how everything's going to change. Is it going to be easier come next year with minting things, or I don't know, just everything, the whole process of everything be a little smoother. That's what I'm just looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And I'm genuinely interested, because I mean, like I said this, but I like Halloween time. So I'm genuinely interested in seeing the Clay and the Yummy art to see, because I like when they can do that kind of stuff. Like, we've been able to do it with the show, and getting to be a little creative in a different way that we're not normally able to do has been fun to do. So getting to see like the projects, you know, to see what they come up with has been interesting. And even just on their normal drops, like, I mean, that's why I like the Wraith ones a lot, because he has so much creativity in how simple that shape is for just the Wraith, but then how different so many of those were. So I'm really excited for the Halloween projects and just to see what they actually do.
So Yeah, I'm in the same boat. So I guess we'll see this week what happens and what everybody gets, and have some fun. See what news pops up from this week to the next. So yeah, just to kind of wrap this thing up, because I know we've been going kind of a little bit long today. We could talk about this stuff all day, all night.
Little bonus time this week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Halloween helps that on.
Halloween is a great time of the year. And going into next week, we're trying to stay more engaged. Just for anybody who's keeping up with us, we're getting a little more engaged with our actual community that's starting to develop. We're starting to be more interactive when it comes to Twitter Spaces, just Discord, all those different things. We may look into starting, if we get enough feedback here as we grow, starting our own actual Freedom35ers Discord if there's a demand for it. And then just trying to get our name out there to everybody and talk and set up some interviews. I think we're in the works right now for one, which we'll announce once we get everything confirmed. So we're starting to get, we'd like to be able to get the CNFT community involved with us and just kind of talk to them on a personal level for what, the way that we talk right now, and just learn a little bit more about, some people that are doing some awesome things in this community.
Yeah, I got questions. Someone needs to come on and explain to us why Cardano is so difficult.
Right. The actual chain itself.
Yeah. I mean, talk or explain to me like I'm 5.
All right. So I think the conversation, the Twitter space they had last night was with JoelMadden and those guys. I think it was Cinnabon and Fettuccine and a few others. They were just talking and going off, and I'm like, I need to dial myself back and just sit back in the back seat and just take all this stuff in that you guys are telling me, because you're over my head right now when it comes to all the stuff you're discussing. So
that's how it feels sometimes when you talk. Like,
can you imagine like where I'm at? I'm like, fuck, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about right now.
Some of these projects too, the technology and stuff they come up with, I understand what a royalty is, but then they start explaining it, like the details of how it works, like on the blockchain and per transaction, and how it works within the marketplace and each sale percentages and stuff like that. And I'm like, you said percentages, and I stopped.
Well, it's like an Adam Sandler and Billy Madison. Slow down. Oh, okay.
Slow down. Okay. 100%. But yeah, man. So we're having a good time here. Just talking, getting to know people, and putting ourselves out there, and just seeing reactions. It's fun that anybody who's just supporting us right now, watching our channel, viewing our Twitter, just interacting with us. Thank you for the support so far.
Definitely appreciate it.
cNFTcon just happened this past week. It's awesome to see a community developing, and hopefully next year, Vegas time, we're sitting here talking to you guys again, or possibly meeting you out there at that time. So thank you for the support. Thank you for the growth that we've had so far, and we're looking forward to getting to know everybody a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Pursuit of Freedom 35 for sure.
So, Freedom 35ers, baby. So so we'll see you guys next week. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more news that happens after these Halloween drops. I'm excited to see what everybody pulls, and just what transpires as far as new things popping up in this community. So appreciate you guys listening. Again, I'm Tommy, also go by TLMMY.
TJ, go by Lazy T.
And I'm Tom, I go by Lavish Bear.
And so we're the Freedom 35ers. Yeah, right. We have all these little different monikers and stuff, but yeah, man, it's fun for everybody to be listening, man, and we appreciate your time. So we look forward to talking next week, and we'll see you guys
Halloween.
then.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween.